If you're so focused on where the path is leading, you'll miss the beauty, the lesson, and the clues all around you. The present moment is where the real learning happens. Hey, it's your friend Lizzy, and welcome to the Lean In with Lizzy podcast. I'm beyond excited to spend this time with you. We've officially hit the 1 month mark of the podcast, and whether you're brand new today or have been with us from the start, I want to take a moment and say welcome. However you found the show or whoever shared it with you, I'm genuinely glad you're here. I want to acknowledge you for being here, for investing your time in a podcast designed to help you live with greater confidence and courage. It's no small thing to commit to personal growth, and I honor you today for showing up. Okay, so today I'm fired up to share a principle that's been on my mind for the last year. No joke. This year I turned 40, and it feels like such a milestone. I've been in major reflection mode, journaling and making lists about my life so far and where I want to go from here. One of the things I've been reflecting on a lot lately is this question: am I living a life that truly makes a difference? And even more than that, what does that difference even look like? It's such a big question, right? One that can feel both inspiring and overwhelming. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day grind, checking boxes, doing what needs to be done. But deep down, there's always that lingering thought. Is this really the impact I want to be making? Have I been true to myself? Have I given the best of me to the people who matter most to me? These are the kinds of questions I've been wrestling with, especially as I hit this milestone in my life. I don't know about you, but I don't want to wake up one day and realize I've been so busy, but not focused on anything that matters or any of the people that matter most to me. I've spent time journaling, doing some deep reading, and even researching this topic because I don't want to just live a good life. I want to live a life with purpose, one that I can look back on with no regrets. That's the goal, right? And through all this reflecting, I've come to some pretty powerful realizations about how I want to live from here on out. I'm talking real, tangible shifts in how I think about my time, my energy, and where I want to direct it moving forward. Today, I'm excited to share with you one powerful mindset shift that can regret-proof your life. This single approach has completely changed everything for me. It's not a quick fix, but it's an actionable, life-altering mindset that will help you live with more intention, starting right now. I'm also going to share 2 bonus tips on how you can apply this mindset today so that you can start making changes right away to living a life without regrets. Because here's the truth. After today, you're going to find it so much easier to say no to the things that don't align with your highest priorities. You'll stop feeling pulled in 100 directions by all the shoulds and start feeling a deep sense of confidence in the yeses that you choose. You'll feel grounded, knowing that the things you're investing your time and energy into are the things that really matter to you. How to regret-proof your life. Focus on winning. Okay, before you jump to conclusions, let me explain what I mean by winning. It's not about competition or being better than someone else. I'm talking about WIN as an acronym. WIN. What's important now? This is where the focus should be. It's not about competition or being better than someone else. I'm talking about WIN as an acronym. What's important now? That's where the real focus should be, on what's important right now. I still remember the exact day this concept shifted my mindset. I was at my local YMCA lifting weights, not particularly expecting any big revelations, just going through the motions of my routine. But I had my earbuds in and I was listening to Greg McKeown's book, Essentialism, The Disciplined Pursuit of Less. If you haven't read the book, I can't recommend it enough. It's packed with insights that will have you looking at your life and wondering why you've been wasting so much time on things that don't matter. It was during that workout that I first heard about the concept of WIN, what's important now. At first, I thought it was just another productivity hack, like focus on your top 3 tasks or batch your work. But as I kept lifting and listening, something started to click. McKeown isn't just talking about crossing things off a to-do list. WIN is about something deeper. It's about stripping away all the non-essential tasks, decisions, and distractions that fill our days and focusing on just one thing. What is important right now? It's a question you can ask yourself in any moment, in any situation, to regain clarity and direction. It's like a reset button for your mind. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized how revolutionary this simple question could be. It's not about prioritizing tasks. It's about prioritizing your life. How many of us spend our days reacting to whatever comes at us, multitasking, juggling a million things at once, and still feeling like we're not getting anywhere? I know I've been there too often. The big breakthrough came not right away, but in the days and the weeks after that gym session. I started playing around with the idea of what's important now, not just as a productivity tool, but as a way to fully show up in my life. It became my guide for everything, whether I was with my kids, working on something for work, or even just hanging out with friends. By asking myself this one simple question, I could snap myself back into the present and focus on the one thing that mattered most in that moment. Imagine the power in that, being able to fully engage in the now, whether it's a conversation with a loved one, a work project, or even just enjoying a quiet moment for yourself. You can start to let go of the guilt that comes with feeling like you need to do everything at once, and instead feel confident that you're putting your energy where it counts. This is what I realized. What's important now isn't just a question for when you're facing big life choices. It's the most powerful tool for being fully present in every area of your life. You get to decide in each moment where your focus goes. And that's when you can really start to win, not by doing more, but by doing what matters. I want to share 2 stories with you that have made a big impact on me on wanting to live more aligned with what's important. The fact that I want to do a whole episode on this topic should be a signal to you that I don't always live aligned, or I wouldn't have so much passion about it. I've had times where I've done it beautifully and been so in the moment on things that matter most that it's brought me to tears. I've also had plenty of my own mini chapters when I've looked back and realized I wasn't living true to what mattered most to me. So let me take you back to a time in my life where I was living out of alignment, and I had been for a while. I was working on my blog, The Small Seed, which had been my passion for years. It was something that I felt so deeply about. It was so important to me. I got to share my love for Jesus with a growing community. I had built an amazing team of women that I loved, each as passionate and even more talented than I was at helping others find peace and purpose through faith. We were creating incredible content, products, and even a Christian meditation app. It felt like we were on fire. But somewhere along the way, I started to feel off. I was frazzled, tired, and confused. Because when I started The Small Seed, I did so with this deep conviction that it was my life's purpose. I had felt strongly, even inspired by God, that this was the work I was meant to do. It wasn't just another blog. It was something that felt bigger than myself. So I assumed this would be my life's work. I thought I'd be running The Small Seed for years and years, maybe forever. But then life shifted. My kids were no longer napping and going to bed at 7 p.m. like they used to. My days started to feel stretched thin, and I realized I wasn't giving my best to anything anymore. I wasn't showing up fully for the women on my team, and I wasn't showing up fully for my family either. The feeling of being pulled in too many directions was gut-wrenching. I was failing on both fronts. Here's the tricky part. I was confused. How could something that once felt so aligned and so divinely inspired start to feel out of place? I was scared. I thought, if I have to let this go, what do I have? Who was I if The Small Seed wasn't my thing anymore? But at the same time, I knew deep down that I couldn't keep going like this. I was missing my life. It took over a year of journaling, prayer, and early morning walks to finally come to terms with what was happening. I had to trust myself, and I had to trust God that He'd lead me forward just like He had led me in the past. And I'll be honest with you, the moment that I made that decision was the moment I felt free. It was like a weight lifted right off my shoulders. I could see things starting to work out in ways that I hadn't expected. The funny part, or the sad part, is that I look back now and realize that it took me way longer than it needed to, simply because I wasn't trusting myself and I wasn't trusting God. That experience taught me a powerful lesson. Sometimes the things that once felt right, things that even served a divine purpose, are meant to evolve. It's okay to let go when something is no longer aligned with what's important now. Okay, story number 2, small and heralded moments. The story is a small one, maybe one that might feel insignificant to you. But that's the funny thing about living in alignment with what's important now. It's often not about the grand gestures or big dramatic moments. Typically, living in alignment with what matters most is about doing the small things. It's about making small, quiet, course corrections. It's choosing the path that's quieter, not louder. And sometimes it's doing things that make other people scratch their heads or make you feel like you're swimming upstream, different from everyone else. But let's be honest, doing what matters is often peculiar. It's often against what culture tells you is cool or normal, but they are the things that actually matter. And these are the moments that create real change and that ripple out in ways that we can't always see in the moment. So here's the story. Earlier this year, a friend of mine experienced the unimaginable. She lost her daughter. It was absolutely heartbreaking. At the time, I didn't know this friend really well. We went to church together, and I had been given the assignment to look out for her as a part of what we call ministering. When her daughter passed, I prayed about how I could show up for her in a way that would be meaningful to her, but also not intrusive, because I wasn't her closest friend. I didn't want to overstep or make her feel uncomfortable in such a fragile moment. I did have a small gift I wanted to give her, something personal that I hope at least let her know that someone cared. I told myself she might be more comfortable in not seeing me in person, But if I'm being honest, deep down, I was the one who wasn't comfortable. I was afraid I wouldn't have the right words to say. I was worried I'd be awkward or make things worse. So I did what we often do when we're scared. I took the safe route. I brought my kids along with me as an emotional safety blanket, hoping they'd make things feel less awkward. We got to our door, and after a few moments of no answer, I thought, phew, dodged that bullet. Quickly headed back to the car and hardly really gave her even a chance to open the door, feeling relieved that I didn't have to face the uncomfortable moment. I then shot off a text saying that we had stopped by, left the gift, and if she was home, we could always come back if she wanted a hug. Well, 5 minutes later, much to my fear, she texted back. She was home and would love a hug. My heart sank, but I knew what mattered most right then. We turned the car around, and with a prayer in my heart that I just wouldn't make things worse, we walked up to her door. What happened next was one of those moments that solidified my belief in always having the courage to do what's important, even when it feels uncomfortable. She opened the door, and without either of us needing to say much, she wrapped her arms around me and around my kids. We didn't need to make it better. We just needed to be there. In that moment, I realized that when you show up in the important things, when you align your actions with what's important now, God fills in the gaps. He is the one who does the doing. That experience taught me that sometimes doing the important things doesn't look flashy, doesn't feel flashy. It's quiet, it's awkward, it's scary, but it's real. But when you show up for the things that matter, you never regret it. Okay, let's get back to the meat of how and why we can focus on what's important now, because this is how you're going to regret-proof your life. So first, let's focus on the why. Why should you focus on the now? This may seem obvious after I shared those stories, but it's worth digging into. First, because when your time, money, and energy are out of alignment with what matters most, that's the very definition of regret. And let me tell you, regret is one of the toughest emotions to deal with. It's that deep, sinking feeling you get when you realize that what truly mattered to you, the thing you care most about, got pushed aside for something less important. Regret happens when the life you want to live and the choices you're actually making aren't in sync. I don't know about you, but to me, regret feels like one of the worst emotions. It hits hard because it's not something you can fix after the fact. You can't go back and change how you spent that time, that energy, or that moment. Maybe that's why I care so deeply about making the most of every day, every decision, every opportunity. I have this core belief that we're here to use this life to the absolute fullest, to pour ourselves into things that matter, and to make sure that at the end of the day, we can look back and know that where we invested our energy was where we uniquely could make impact. Focusing on what's important now is not just about productivity or efficiency, it's about alignment. It's about making sure that every yes you give, every no you stand firm on, is really aligned with what matters most to you. Because when you do that, you eliminate that space for regret. You'll feel and claim an inner peace knowing that you're living in a way that reflects your true values, rather than wasting your life second guessing if you're on the right track and always looking around you for what someone else is spending their life on. Okay, reason number 2. The second reason why focusing on what's important now is so powerful comes down to this. Focusing on the present prepares you for what's ahead. Here's the thing. Too many of us are constantly looking around to the next phase of life, to the next milestone, to the next time we'll finally get a break. It's like we're always chasing the horizon, imagining that our real life is just waiting somewhere down the road. But the truth is, when we live that way, always focused on what's next, we miss what's right under our feet. If you're so focused on where the path is leading, you'll miss the beauty, the lesson, and the clues all around you. The present moment is where the real learning happens. It's where real life happens. And here's what's even more important. By staying in the present, you also become attuned to the signals your emotions and feelings are sending you right now. These feelings of discomfort, frustration, or even joy, they're not random. They're clues and they're cues telling you something about your life. When we're too focused on the future, we miss those signals entirely. We lose the chance to course correct in the moment, to make those small shifts that align us with what truly matters. The second point within this is that if we don't focus on the now, we risk numbing ourselves to these emotions. Instead of allowing ourselves to feel full the pain or the discomfort, we just distract ourselves. We turn to social media, to TV, to anything that helps us avoid sitting with those hard emotions. And maybe that's what we want. Or maybe we numb ourselves in other ways through food, alcohol, or any kind of short-term pleasure that helps us escape the reality of what we're feeling. And maybe it feels like that's what we want. But here's the thing. Emotions, whether they're difficult or uncomfortable, are messengers knocking at your door. They're trying to tell you something about what you truly want, about what's truly important to you now, and about what needs to change in your life to get there. If you keep numbing or ignoring those messages, you'll never get to the heart about what they are. But if you allow yourself to sit in the present, to sit with those emotions and to listen to them, you'll receive powerful messages that will lead you to the life you really want. So here's the visual. Think of your present emotions like a compass. They're pointing you in the direction of what's possible for you. But you can't read that compass unless you're standing still right here, right now. Accept the messages that your emotions are bringing because they hold the key to creating a better tomorrow. All right, for tip number 1, I've done everything I can to convince you to focus on what's important now. Why? Because I want you to live a life without regret. You deserve a life that's full of peace, joy, and the energy that comes from being fired up about who you are and what you do. You shouldn't accept anything less. Not only do you deserve it, but the people you're meant to serve, the ones who can benefit from you living at your absolute best, they deserve the best version of you too. So here and now, let's lock this in. First, why win matters. First, because when your time, energy, and attention are out of alignment with matters, regret sneaks in. Regret happens when you look back and realize your choices didn't match your values. But when you focus on what's important now, you eliminate that space. You eliminate the regret. You're making choices that reflect who you really are, and you'll look back on those choices with love and gratitude. Second, living in the present sets you up for what's ahead. It allows you to fully soak in the most important learning and growth happening right now. It also allows you to capture the signals your emotions are sending, those feelings meant to guide you and to help you realign with what matters. And finally, when you stay present, you stop numbing yourself with distractions. Instead, you start facing your emotions head on, letting them guide you like a compass towards the life you really want. So focusing on what matters, what's important now, keeps you aligned, helps you eliminate regret, and gives you the cues to where you're headed next. Okay, I want to take a moment right now and speak to those of you who already know what's important now, but who've been living out of alignment. I want to get real. Some of you listening right now know exactly what matters to you. You feel it deep in your bones. Your priorities are crystal clear, but you're not living in a way that reflects them. And I get it. We've all been there. Maybe you're letting people's needs, opinions, and expectations of you run your life. Or maybe you've poured so much time, energy, and money into a career or business that no longer feels right, but you're afraid to walk away. Or maybe, whether you're a man, a woman, in college, or in your 60s, that's terrified to go against what society or the people you want to impress say that you should be doing or how your life should look right now. Your fear of losing approval and significance has overshadowed what you know matters most. If that is you, I'm calling you out right now. It's time to stop right here, right now. No more excuses. You don't need another strategy, another plan, or another permission slip. What you need is to make a choice, to step up and start living in full alignment with your values. Stop waiting for the perfect moment, stop waiting for approval from others, and stop being afraid to say no to things that don't serve you. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's hard. I know the fear that comes with telling people no. I know how difficult it can be to look at your life and admit that you've been wrong, that you've been giving your time, energy, and attention to things that actually don't matter. But here's the thing. This moment right now is your turning point. This is your chance to change, and I'm telling you, you have what it takes to do it. Take courage. Feel it in your chest. Take the courage to make the hard decisions in this very moment. Reclaim your time, energy, and your life. This is your life, and you only get one shot at it. You are worth the effort it takes to make these changes. You are worth the life you dream of living. And every small step you take right now, every shift you make is going to have a ripple effect. It's like the swinging hinge on a door. Those small shifts today are going to open up a future you can't even imagine yet. So I'm asking you, don't waste another second living for someone else's priorities. You deserve to live fully aligned with what you know matters. Realign to your values, reclaim your time, and send that energy and love into the world that you have to give it. This isn't just about you. It's about how we change the world. It starts with you making the decision right now to live in full alignment. I hope you're ready to take this challenge. And if you're someone who makes a big shift in your life today, I want to hear about it. Reach out to me. Message me on Instagram at Lean In with Lizzy, and I'm going to send you a voice message cheering you on at full volume. These are the moments that change everything. And trust me, whatever feels scary today will feel like freedom just a week from now. Okay, for those of you who already know what you need to do, I'm telling you, turn off this episode right now and go and do it. Don't wait, don't overthink, just go. You can always come back to this episode later if you're ADD like me and need to finish this episode. But right now, I want you to take action. It's what this podcast is about. Pushing you to have the courage and the confidence to make real change and start living a life that fires you up every day. Don't procrastinate, whether it's breaking up with the relationship that's dragging you down, finally telling someone the truth you've been holding in, or communicating a boundary that you know deep down matters, or calling someone and asking for forgiveness, getting the courage to get pregnant and start having a family, or starting to look for work that aligns more with your priorities. It could even be shutting down a business that's draining your energy. Just go do it. Life is too short to live out of alignment. It's too precious to waste on things that don't set your soul on fire. And the impact you can make when you're living fully aligned, that is priceless. Okay, for those of you still listening in now, I'm going to assume you've already paused and done that thing that was burning in your heart, and you're ready for the bonus tips. Let's dig into those. The first bonus tip is for those of you who aren't totally sure what's important in your life. Bonus tip number 1. How to get laser focused on what's important now. What's important to you now is going to look different in different phases of your life. As women, we reinvent ourselves, or as Jeanette Bennett put it so beautifully in episode 3, we renegotiate ourselves and our lives every 3 to 5 years. I love this language. Between education, relationships, family, kids, marriage, careers, and even hormones, we are constantly adjusting to new phases and priorities. This is especially true if you've chosen to have children. There's the phase before kids, then the early childhood years when kids start school, then elementary school, high school, maybe a surprise baby, and eventually empty nesting. Each phase brings different challenges, different joys, and different things that matter most. That's why it's so important to take time when chapters change to intentionally choose how you want to show up in this new season of life. If you find yourself in a new chapter, or maybe you're in college and just beginning to author the most important decisions in your story, I'm going to give you a few principles that can help you get laser focused on what's important now in this phase of your life. These principles are drawn from my life and some key studies, and they'll help you find clarity and direction in whatever season you're in. Principle number 1, look backwards to see what truly matters most. This is one of the most powerful ways to get clear on what matters right now. Begin by looking back at what's mattered most in your life so far. Often we're so caught up in the pace of life that we forget to pause and reflect on what's actually brought us the most peace, joy, and meaning before. A few weeks ago, my family and I took a trip back to the place we lived for 10 years, where we had all of our kids and where all our family journey really began. We left on the day of our 15th anniversary with all of our kids on the plane, and it was just beautiful. It was surreal to walk those familiar streets, see the faces of people we hadn't seen in years, and visit the places that were once a part of our everyday lives. But what moved me most was visiting our neighbors, John and Brian. We didn't have much in common with them at the time. We didn't share hobbies, our kids weren't the same age, and we weren't part of the same faith community. But standing in front of their house after all those years, I felt this deep sense of love and friendship that honestly took me by surprise. I found myself wishing I had done more, that I'd invited them over for dinner or spent more time getting to know them and shared more of our life with them too. That feeling of missed opportunity stuck with me, and it reminded me of how important those quiet, simple connections can be, even with people that we don't necessarily see all the time. If you're trying to get clear on what matters to you now, take some time and look back. Reflect on the people, the moments, and experiences that brought you the most joy and meaning in the past. Journal about it. What did those experiences have in common? What feelings did they invoke? Often looking back gives us the clearest cues about what we want to prioritize right now in the present. Principle number 2, look forward to your future self. The second way to get clear on what's important now is to look ahead. Picture yourself 5 years from now, living the life you truly want. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What were the choices that you made to get to that point? Just before leaving New York City on that same family trip, I ran my family through an exercise that ended up being far more impactful for me than I had anticipated. First, we reflected on the past 5 years, the changes we had experienced as a family, from moving to Connecticut to Utah, the new schools, new friendships, and just being closer to family. We thought about how much we had grown, both individually and as a unit. Then, we each took out a piece of paper and wrote letters to our future selves 5 years from now. For me, this exercise was really eye-opening. I've done this before in my life in the past, But for some reason in the past, I had always felt like I really needed to write something impressive about career goals or outside achievements, things that would make me feel accomplished and important. But this time something shifted. I realized that in 5 years, my kids would go from ages 5 to 12 to 10 to 17. These were going to be the golden years ahead. I knew then that this chapter was about focusing on them. It was about making a home, building memories, teaching lessons that would stay with them for a lifetime. So here's your exercise. Take a moment to imagine your life 5 years from now. Write a letter to your future self even. What are you doing? Who are you spending time with? What priorities have guided your choices? What matters most in the chapters ahead? This is going to help you see clearly what matters not only in that chapter, but what you should be focusing on right now. Principle 3, learn from the regrets of others. Finally, one of the most important ways and powerful ways to get focused on what matters now is by just learning from what other people have said. We don't have to wait until the end of our lives to figure out what we'll wish we had done differently. We can learn from those who've already walked that path. Bronnie Ware, an Australian palliative care nurse, spent years working with patients at the end of their lives and wrote a book I highly recommend called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. The lessons she gathered from those patients are eye-opening and humbling. Here are the top 5 regrets she identified. 1, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. 2, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. 5, I wish I had let myself be happier. What strikes me about these regrets is how much they emphasize relationships and authenticity. The regret about working too hard wasn't just about the job. It was about missing out on time with family and loved ones. The regret about not expressing feelings was about holding back love, not having real conversations, and not being fully present. So here's your exercise. Take these 5 regrets and turn them into journal prompts. Ask yourself, am I living a life that's true to myself? Or am I living according to what others expect of me? 2, am I working so hard that I'm missing out on precious moments with those people that I love the most? 3, do I have the courage to express my feelings openly and honestly with those who matter most? 4, am I staying connected with my friends and nurturing those relationships? And last, am I allowing myself to experience real joy and happiness, or am I holding back? Taking some time to reflect on these questions and letting them guide you in making decisions will help you align your life in the present with the life you want to live. So in this bonus tip number 1, I've given you 3 powerful principles to help you get laser focused on what's important now for you. By looking back, looking forward, and learning from the wisdom of others, you'll find clarity and confidence to know what's most important to you right now. Okay, are you ready for bonus number 2? It might surprise you. Bonus number 2 is this. Regrets are only regrets if you don't use them for good. It's so tempting to want to live our lives perfectly, thinking we're going to treasure every moment, we're going to make all the right decisions, and somehow realize the significance of it all while it's happening. But let's be honest, that's just not how life works. We go through life wishing we could get everything right the first time through. We think, if only I had known this earlier. But that mindset misses the bigger picture. Life isn't about avoiding mistakes. It's about learning from them. The idea that we could somehow live without making any missteps is an illusion. The reality is those mistakes are how we grow. They're how we discover what truly matters to us and who we really are. Here's the twist. You can live a life without regrets, not by getting everything right, but by changing your mindset about what's worthy of regret. The key to regret-proofing your life is actually going all out, making mistakes, and then learning from them early and often. The only way to turn a mistake into a regret is to ignore it. The only way regrets are made is by letting them fester. If you take time to reflect, to course correct, and to grow from those moments, there's no room for regret, only wisdom. Think about it. When you experience something for the first time, it's totally natural to mess it up. You've never done it before. It's normal for you to feel unsure of yourself. This isn't failure. This is living. It's all part of getting the most out of life. Every time you do it wrong, you're gaining the experience and the insight you need to figure out what's actually right for you. I've often thought, I wish I could live life backwards with all the wisdom of what I know now. That's probably why I started a podcast, honestly, to hopefully help someone else do it better than I have. But the truth is, it's often by doing things wrong that we learn what's right for us. This is learning by our own experience, learning deeply, and having experiences that truly change you. But the most beautiful thing is that as we take the time to reflect and change, those so-called mistakes aren't regrets. They become the stepping stones to the life you're meant to live. So here's my final challenge. Look at areas of your life where you've made mistakes or where you feel like you've fallen short. Change your mindset about what's worthy of regret. Use those moments for good. Reflect, adjust, and let those mistakes become the fuel that moves you forward. This is how you regret-proof your life. Not by avoiding mistakes, but by growing from them. My whole purpose in this episode has been to empower you to course correct, to change, and to reflect earlier and more often. If you do that, you will absolutely regret-proof your life. Wow, I love sharing this episode with you so much, and I hope you feel as fired up as I do about living a life aligned with what's important to you right now. I can't wait to watch you make changes, the big ones and the powerful small ones. I know more freedom and joy are right around the corner for you as you do. Don't forget to share your wins with me. Message me over on Instagram at Lean In with Lizzy, and I want to celebrate with you. As we mark the 1 month anniversary of this podcast, if you've enjoyed what you've heard here, I'd love if you'd share this podcast with someone who would love it too. Sharing the podcast will help others find it too. I want to end today by telling you, I believe in you. You deserve a beautiful life. It is within your power and it's worth every effort. Go live with the confidence and courage you deserve today.